Hello guys, Sophia Kiwi here with you today. Welcome to my channel and to today's video. We have a serious topic today, leaving an abuser and why it is so hard. I will also talk about a few signs that you are in fact dealing with an abuser. So first of all, thank you so much for supporting my channel, watching, commenting, subscribing. I love it, love it. Thank you so much. Keep doing that. And let's dive into the video. Over the past few years, there have been a lot of materials about abusive relationships, perverse narcissists, toxic partners, and abuse of power. But still, when another story about an abusive relationship is revealed on the internet, people keep asking the same question. Why didn't they leave this terrible person? Let's agree on the terminology right away. You have probably met people who let you down, manipulated your emotions, devalued your achievements, and declared a boycott. Abusive relationships have several characteristic features: periodicity, cyclicality, and fear of one partner for the other. First of all, let's talk about the cycle of abuse, because abusive relationships always develop according to the same scenario. The first phase is idealization. The abuser puts you on a pedestal. They idolize you. Such a flow of love is difficult to resist. You will feel like a celebrity in the very beginning. It's confusing, yet it can be very flattering, although the question will keep popping up in your head. What's wrong with them? I don't mean you are not perfect, you are not amazing as a person, but it will feel too much. The flattery, the compliments, it will not feel sincere, yet you will be flattered. You will feel like the relationship is on fast forward. This is also a very important sign to keep out for. Just if you feel like it's going too fast, the abuser will try to define the relationship quickly so that you will not have time to actually see who you are dealing with. They may offer to move in together after dating each other for a month, or they might claim that they love you on the second date. It feels like you are skipping some important stages with this person. You are dating them, but you don't feel ready to move in with them, or the phrase "I love you" that they might say will take you by surprise because you are not ready, and this can indicate that you are actually in fact dealing with an abuser. The next phase is increasing tension. No human being is perfect, so the idealization phase will melt into disappointment and stressful situations. Children, marital difficulties, work problems, you name it. There are so many options here. It could make the abuser feel ignored, offended, or even annoyed. Aggressive impulses accumulate in them. During this period, you might try to tone down the violence, or on the contrary, accidentally, you might actually provoke it. The next phase is act of violence. The abuser openly shows violence, insulting their partner, humiliating them psychologically, cheating, disappearing from home without an excuse or a reason for it. There could be a lot of options. Usually the abuser says a common phrase: "You brought me to it. I was a normal person before I met you." The next phase is reconciliation. Actually, in fact, the next phase and the last phase that we are coming to are the reason for why it is so hard to get out of an abusive relationship. It's one of many reasons for why it is so hard. We are talking about reconciliation, first of all. The abuser is afraid that the partner will leave them, and the phase of compensation for what they have done begins. Gifts, vows of fidelity, making jokes, promises to change, gaslighting. They try to deny what happened. And the list goes on for how they are going to behave, just like, oh, I adore you. I love you. You know that I love you. I'm ready to change. I have realized everything. I will do anything. Yeah. And the last phase I was talking about, why it is so hard to leave an abuser, the honeymoon phase. Because if everything was so bad in a relationship with an abuser, you would of course leave, or a victim would easily leave. But when it goes up and down, like the American roller coaster, it gets much more difficult. So the honeymoon phase. This period is both the most difficult and the most desirable for the victim. It's during the honeymoon phase that the abuser can agree to a consultation with a psychotherapist, spend time with a child if you have one, help in business, assure the victim that it's only thanks to you that I can change. It's you are making me change. Can't you not see all the things I already have accomplished? I'm already changing. You don't see it yet. You are not seeing it because they are not changing. Or they might also pretend that they are changing for a short while. Just make you believe that they are changing. And then a circle, only without idealization, begins. Over time, words and actions become less sincere. The cycle of violence shortens, and everything begins to happen at high speed until the victim leaves the abuser, or the abuser switches to the next person. So how does a person feel inside an abusive relationships? Probably those of you who will watch this video you might already have been in abusive relationships, so you all totally know, unfortunately, what I am talking about. And those of you who haven't and are just trying to learn about abusive relationships, what to look out for, this is for you especially, so you can understand how a person feels inside of an abusive relationship. Psychological abuse is not always easy to recognize. Not at all. It's hard to believe that a loved one with whom you are trying to build a sincere, happy relationship turns out to be a pathological liar, not inclined to sympathy, regularly sets you up, and does not take your needs into account. We are used to believing that violence is always physical. This is also why it's so hard sometimes to identify what is abuse. It's visible. We are used to that. Abuse is visible. It can be recorded and it can be proved. Psychological violence is insidious and occurs gradually. At first, the victim brushes off small insults and inappropriate comments, copes with difficulties on their own, and looks for an excuse to justify the abuser's behavior. In addition, the abuser knows how to love bomb like no one else. The victim tends to believe that this is the real them, and when the mask begins to slip, the victim believes that it's their own fault and they are indeed affecting their partner in a bad way, when in fact their partner were always bad. They were always this kind of person. Nothing changed. They were just masking themselves, their true self, and were trying to be someone else. Now, what are a few signs that your relationship might be abusive? I have talked about this before, but there are endless signs of how to know that you are dealing with an abuser. It's important to repeat some parts. That's why I'm recording a lot of these videos, because sometimes you just need to look through a lot of videos until you actually realize what is going on, in case you that are watching this video are inside an abusive relationship and you are constantly on a daily basis asking yourself, am I actually with an abuser, or is it just in my mind? Am I becoming crazy? Am I overreacting? Let's see if you are. Probably not. First sign that you are with an abuser, or might be with an abuser, is neglect. The abuser almost never cares about you, only during a period of reconciliation and the honeymoon phase, which is so sugar sweet and the reason why it's so hard to leave. You can never count on them or make any plans. For example, they promise to walk with your child, or they promise to take you out to go out to a restaurant, a cafe, and then they provoke a big quarrel as not to do this. They promise you something, but it never happens. Next sign is double standards. There will be certain things that the abuser is allowed to do that you are not. One partner will obviously have more freedom and appear dominant. If you are financially dependent on the abuser, they will give you money only for the bare necessities, but they will spend how much they don't want on themselves. Next sign is frightening behavior when they are angry. You strive to avoid conflict because you know that any objection will pour a lot of dirt, obscenities, and insults on you. Abusers can kick objects or throw objects at you or threaten you. In today's video, we do not focus on the physical abuse, as I said, but there could be endless examples of this where they just scare you when they become angry. It's like they become another person, or in fact, maybe when they are angry, they actually become themselves, and that's why you get scared. The next sign is feeling like you are walking on eggshells. You seem to agree with your secondary role. Your main function is not to annoy your partner, and you control yourself. Choose your words carefully, but soon you will realize that no matter how hard you try to keep a low profile, the abuser will always be annoyed over something. No matter what you say, what you do, always annoyed. Next sign is relationship with conditions, or what you can call psychosadism. They could say something like, I'll be forced to sleep with others if you can't satisfy me. Or I'll take the baby for a walk if you finally clean up properly. Even if you are amazing at cleaning, the house is clean, spotless in fact, but they will still make you feel insecure, make you feel like you need to earn their love, their fidelity, anything. You need to earn everything. The next sign is quarrels in a circle. So what do I mean by this? Basically that you are quarreling about the same thing over and over. You keep having the same fights with your partner that go around in circles without ever coming to a mutual agreement. You feel stuck in a relationship, like you don't see a way out. Another sign is loss of your identity. Trying to appease your partner, you gradually forget about your own needs and your own hobbies. All resources are spent on maintaining the toxic relationship. They completely absorb all your potential. This is, in a sense, similar to a burnout. Another sign, and actually the last sign I will give you, and you might be thinking, wow, that is illness. Do you feel like you have been sick a lot lately? You keep catching one cold after another. Hormonal roller coasters affect health. These ups and downs are not just ups and downs. Migraines, digestive problems, our immune system will weaken. The body cannot withstand stress. Your health will start to crumble because you are constantly under stress. You don't know what is going to happen next. Are we in a fight? Are we good? Are we going to quarrel again when I come home? If they are calling, oh Jesus, they are calling. Maybe they will be mad over something. Maybe I haven't told them everything. Wait, maybe. This will make you feel sick. Your immune system will most definitely weaken after some time, and you will notice that you are going down, both psychologically and physically. So why is it so difficult to get out of an abusive relationship? I already talked a little about the two last phases in the abuse cycle, the reconciliation phase and the honeymoon phase. But let's dive deeper. Abuse is a psychological concentration camp. In fact, I think it's totally fine to actually make a comparison to a concentration camp in a way. Abusive relationships could indeed be compared to fascist practices during the Second World War. This is called the wheel of power and control. The bottom line is that the victim is humiliated, exhausted, threatened with violence, alternating with unpredictable manifestations of favor. A very strong emotional bond arises, an almost biological dependence based on inconsistency, alternating rewards and punishments. The victim stays because they are ready to endure everything for the sake of the reward. In psychotherapy, this is called traumatic attachment. The aggressor turns into a source of the strongest emotions, and the victim unwittingly falls into dependence of their approval, and the loss of this relationship begins to be perceived as a disaster. If the victim still decides to leave, for a long time they are in apathy, because any other relationship seems terribly boring, since it does not cause a strong emotional surge like the relationship with the psychopath or with the narcissist, with the abuser. What to do? It's interesting that people who have experience of abusive relationships note that at the very beginning, the relationship they had in the beginning of the relationship, they had strange dreams, warning of danger. The dreams were warning them that they are in danger, maybe natural catastrophes like tsunamis or fires, something that really tried to give them a sign. They also noted that something was off, but they could not quite decide what it was. Therefore, the main advice for you is to trust yourself, your body, and your intuition. What happens to people who have experienced abuse is a topic for a separate video, actually. A person needs to regain a sense of self-worth, sensitivity, taste for life, and learn that what seems as a boring person after the abuser is probably a normal person that you can build a healthy relationship with. Now, I know that a lot of people who have gone through abusive relationships or had parents that abused them in the past, in their childhood, that someone in their close proximity were abusive, they tend or are at risk of entering an abusive relationship because it seems familiar. That is also why you are risking to end up in another abusive relationship after you leave one abusive relationship, because it seems familiar. Some things will seem familiar with that other person, even if you think, I will never be with an abuser again. Be careful out there. Just be careful. This is why this video is happening, for you to never, ever, ever be with an abuser again. So, back to what you should do. A victim of abuse should go into therapy. That is actually what I think is the best. Of course, it depends for how long you were in this abusive relationship. The damage could still be enormous. Even if it was a half year, that's too much. Even if it was 1 year, spending any time with an abuser is too much. And the consequences could be enormous. They could be super, super bad and stay with you for a very long time, if not forever, depending on what kind of abuse it was. And you should try to go into therapy, because you will need support from a professional and come to the bottom of what trauma led you to the abuser in the first place. Another problem will be the rage the victim feels or that you feel. You want to punish the abuser, take revenge on them, because you can't just forget and move on. This rage cannot be ignored. It needs to be given a place in the therapeutic space and understand how to deal with it. You should not just ignore your feelings after what happened. So guys, that was it for today. I hope you will find this video helpful, maybe interesting. Some parts will be new to some of you. Some parts might be familiar. I would love to know what you think about this topic. Do you have your own experience of dealing with an abuser? What did you do? Write a comment down below. I love to read them. I love to know what you think. Don't hesitate to email me if you have a question or if you just need to talk at sophia.kiwi at sophia.kiwi@hotmail.com. As I said, if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to talk about, just send me a message. I will be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. I love you guys. See you in my next video. Bye.